Hi, and welcome to Facebook Live with me, Namita Ramani. So, your network is your net worth, is the topic for today's Facebook Live. Just like me, I'm sure a lot of you who go to these networking events feel intimidated with all these new people around, not knowing what to do, who should I reach out to, who should I talk to. If you see a group of people standing there, maybe you wonder, should I go and budge in the conversation and jump in? What will they say? What will happen? And to avoid all that, you decide to take up a phone and probably start looking into it and seeing your Instagram or messages and stuff like that. Try to look busy. Do you do any of these things? If you do, this session is a must-hear session for all of us. For people who are into business, people who are professionals, and just otherwise also for day-to-day life, to find relationships, to find love. I think this is a very important topic, which is having a right network of people who can connect you with the right people. And for this session, I have with me Cordelia Henry. Cordelia, welcome to my show. Thank you so much for being part of this and accepting my invitation to come on the show.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Awesome. So before I go ahead and introduce Cordelia, for all those of you who are new on this channel, I'm Namita Ramani, founder and CEO of Above Digital, a digital marketing agency I started in Dubai in 2004. Where I help small business owners achieve their dreams by helping them promote their businesses on online channels using online campaigns. I also teach digital marketing, and you can find the courses that we offer on abovedigitalacademy.com. And now about our guest today, Cordelia Henry. I just want to quickly introduce what she does. Cordelia empowers and inspires women to make connections and build supportive networks that increase business revenues, accelerate corporate careers, and help them with personal relationships. She is an inspirational speaker and has an authentic, practical, and inspiring way to energize her audiences and open their hearts and minds to what she has to say. She is passionate about encouraging women to speak up and believe they can do it. I've actually been to one of her sessions yesterday, which is on the same topic, that is your net worth is network. And I was absolutely zapped by the way she conducted the entire session, the real life, like the exercises she made us do, the ramp walking, and I'm sure we'll talk about all these things as we go ahead with the session. She is absolutely, she opens women up. Why she works only with women, we'll ask her as I give the session to her to talk about her passion. But each topic that Cordelia speaks about is designed to inspire women to reach deep within themselves and discover what is possible on their unique journey to greatness while creating massive success in their business and career. We do want to know your feedback. How do you like the session? If you like it, please press the like button and the love button. If you know anybody can resonate with this topic, do tag them in the comments below and do share it. If you're watching a replay or watching a live session, please ask us questions. You have the speaker right here. Otherwise, you'll have to attend her sessions or reach out to her some way. But you have Cordelia right here to ask whatever questions, doubts you have about networking or making the right connections, doing authentic connections, finding your love through networking. So throw away whatever questions you have as we go ahead in this session. So over to you, Cordelia. First of all, again, thank you for coming on the show. And the question is, when do we start, where do we start when it comes to building authentic connections while networking with people?
Okay, so I'm delighted to be with you, ladies, and thank you so much, Namita, for allowing me to be here. So where do you start when it comes to building an authentic and a very valuable network? I think what you need to do is start with yourself, because I was just chatting to Namita about the fact that when we network, especially as women, what we're looking for is connection and relationship. You see, men are designed very differently. Mm-hmm. They are very transactional. They're hunters. Have you ever heard of a man not wanting to be in his cave? And so when they go to a networking opportunity, they know exactly who they're looking for, and they make sure that they come away once they've caught their hunt. Mm-hmm. Whereas with women, we're not as strategic. We tend to go there to have a conversation, and yes, we may want to speak to some individuals, but for us, we want to get to know people. Mm-hmm. So I think the first place that you need to start is to understand how you can connect better with other people. Mm-hmm. And before you can connect with other people, you have to connect with yourself. Because the issue that I have witnessed here in Dubai and in other countries I've lived in Malaysia and in the UK, people want to go to a networking function and appear to be confident and friendly and open. But if there's an internal voice within them, an inner child that's saying, I'm not good enough, I'm actually feeling exhausted, I'm not sure what value I can add to this conversation, then what is projected is a negative voice. And who wants to connect with someone who portrays that negativity? So to answer the question, where do you start? You start with connection. And if you need to connect authentically, you have to be able to connect to yourself, which means you have to do some inner work so that you can portray the kind of person that you want to show up and become connected to.
I so agree to this. We are all vibration beings, and we sense each other's vibration of how we are feeling, how the other person is. And one of the things that we did yesterday's session was that walk, and I could actually, while the other women were walking and coming through the ramp, and I'm like, oh, should I connect with her? Like, I was talking to myself, would I connect with her? Would I not? Who would I choose to actually reach out to?
Yeah.
So that was, please do talk about your session and what you do and how do you help people in understanding.
Yeah, so yesterday I hosted a masterclass, and it's called Authentic Connections and Valuable Networks. And there was an exercise where I was talking about that first impression. And so it's really about when you walk into the room, people will have a judgment call. And you can change that just by a few little things that you do. So for example, a doorway drill basically means that you stand with your chest upright and your shoulders back, and you're commanding attention. You're walking into that room as if you own it. And in addition to that, just the way in which you communicate with your eyes. You're not looking downcast. Who wants to look and talk to someone who's looking down all the time? Look up and look in. But don't be intrusive, just be pleasant. And another thing that you need to do is be able to use your hands, be able to gesticulate what you're trying to say. I'm of Jamaican heritage, and Jamaicans and Italians, we do the same thing. We're always moving our hands, but just being fluid, being open. Hand movement is very, very important. And another thing, which is an interesting trick, just turn your foot to the person who you want to talk to, and that will give the energy and the flow a lot more movement. So these are just some of the tools that I use to communicate non-verbally in a way that people warm to me. There are other things you can do, but you can come to my masterclass if you want to know more about that.
Highly recommend to attend her masterclass. It was very insightful and eye-opening, and I think you offer many other workshops.
We do.
And I'm really happy to share that at the end of the session with our group. So what else can we do to identify who's the right person that I should speak to? Who can I give value? Is it always about taking value from people? Because at a networking event, everybody is looking for value from each other, right? Everybody wants there has to be a win for everyone. So how do you first of all have a feeling of how to find the person that you can help and then receive help from?
Okay, so here's the thing. When you attend an opportunity to connect, your goal is to connect. If your goal is to get something, then I suggest you go home. That's not why you're there. Your goal is to connect, and to connect with someone, it means that you need to be willing to give. And in our community in Pearlescence, we have a philosophy, and it's so reap. Now, I'm not going to pretend to you that I'm Michael Porter or Stephen Covey, and I've sat on a beach and come up with this great philosophy that I'm now basically calling my own. I'm going to tell you where this philosophy comes from. It's a biblical philosophy that's been with us for generations, and it's been designed by the person who I feel made me, God. And what that principle is when you sow unconditionally into the life of someone else, so when you give to someone and you want nothing in return, what happens is that actual giving process fills you up with a lot more than you have actually given. And there's an exercise that I do where I get people to greet each other as if they don't know each other, and then I get them to greet each other as if they are long lost friends. and the energy. I mean, Namita, did I do that with you yesterday?
Yes, you did.
So how was that experience for you?
That was interesting. I mean, first time we met, it was random new person that I was meeting, and you told us to, meet her as if she's your best friend, and how would you meet a best friend? But then you can't meet someone with so much, if you show so much zest and energy while meeting someone absolutely brand new, they will think you're mad.
Not necessarily, because what happened once you opened up and you were expressive? What happened to you?
Well, in this case, maybe because we were in an exercise, she hugged me and I hugged her. That's how you meet a friend. You hug each other.
And how did that make you feel?
It felt safe and secure, and...
Because you see, Namita is a very reserved person, so to do this naturally would be very uncomfortable for her.
Yeah, I would never. I mean, it takes time to even, spend time with someone. Forget hugging someone, it's a very far off thing.
But you did do it, and then as a result of doing it, did you not feel good?
I feel connected to her. In fact, I remember her name, I remember what she does, I remember what she went through.
Exactly. And all you did was sow one little seed, which was to give her attention and just allow her to be in your space. And I'm not saying you can do this with everybody, but to be connected to people, you have to show up connected.
So what is the mindset should I have to connect? Like, how can I give and I don't even know the person?
Because if you go into this mindset with being open and sowing into their lives, it's playing it forward. Whatever you want to get from something, you have to give it first of all.
Yeah.
And it might not come back from that individual. It may be someone else and someone else.
Yeah.
But there's a blessing behind all of these actions. And as I said, it's been systemized and designed by someone bigger than us. So we really do need to just go out in faith and do it. I mean, I have been doing this for over 47 years. Wow. And that's why you see I'm so passionate with this, because I have given to people without wanting nothing in return. And you know why I can say that? Mm-hmm. In January of this year, I launched Pearlescence, and I had a database of over 10,000 names in the financial services sector, because I was in banking for many, many years. Mm-hmm. But I decided that this was a market that I no longer wanted to serve, and my real passion was women. Mm-hmm. So I sat down and I thought, wow, for me to walk away from those contacts, that's really foolhardy. And it's not like I've had investors into the business. So, this is me building something from scratch. Yeah. And I said, what I need to do is build a network that works. And I've said all my life that this is how I do life. So, okay, I'm going to start it. So in January, when I hosted my first event, I made a decree. I said that I was going to inspire 1,000 women by December 2017. Do you know what? It's November 2017, and I have inspired not only 1,000 women, I have inspired over 1,800 women. Wow. And that is because I have sown into the life of different women who later on gave me a helping hand. So these people, for example, Sophie Leray, the CEO of Nasiba, Lisa Houghton, head of the Dubai Women's Run, and Yasmin, who's also assisted, and Nadine from the Dubai Business Women Council. All these women have just been so instrumental in helping me achieve that goal. But when I was giving to them and sowing into their lives, I simply wanted nothing more than to be a support. And that's why I'm so confident that this principle works.
I was, when I attended your first Luster party, that was in Jan.
Yeah.
And I think my sessions at DBWC were in last year, November. That's when we met. Yeah. And you invited me for the first event. I didn't know that was your first event. It didn't come across as the first event. It was so good. I was very inspired. All the women you chose to share their story, especially Sophie Leray,
yeah.
Yeah, and her story was very inspiring as well, with what all she went through, the way she traveled to China and her journey. And I was thinking to myself, while sitting on that chair, in that audience, I was like, wow, people go through so much shit in life. And
we do.
And I used to think, I have gone through some... It doesn't seem at all anything anymore. I feel I've had a very smooth journey versus all these other women who've gone through so much pain to be where they are.
Yeah, and that's why when we're able to give to them unconditionally, they're so grateful.
Yeah.
And they basically know that that gift is a gift because we are, as women, are naturally great at nurturing relationships.
Yeah.
Unless we're really selfish, we will want to give back to that woman that has helped us. We will want to. Sometimes we can't because of circumstances and situations, but if we are a real woman, we will want to nurture that other woman. It's how we were made.
True, very true. Nurturing is something that comes very naturally to women. But then, as a business professional or as an entrepreneur or someone who's doing any kind of work needs to go out and sell if they're into the sales field, for example. And when you go selling, you think about, what's in it for me? How can I do this? How can I get value back? So we are wired like that. That I'm here at a networking event. My goal is to get the right contacts and try to sell them and achieve my numbers and targets. And you have all these things going on. So how do you combat those kind of pre-built, society notions that we already, the belief systems that we have? What's in it for him? What's in it for me? How do I think what he wants? What kind of questions should we ask a person to connect genuinely with them, authentically?
Okay, so you start off with, what's your passion project? It's so boring to say, what do you do? Now, I know Namita loves pottery. We were talking about the fact that we hadn't done our nails. And mine's hidden. You see, I've got my fist.
And I don't do nails because of pottery classes.
And so I now know that if I've got any books or if I see anything that's kind of quirky, that this is something that she'd love. So I'm asking her, what is she passionate about? What does she do to relax? How many places does she visit a year? These kinds of conversations open people up. So you do need to use the what, when, why, when, how, because these are the open types of questions, but allow the person to talk about a topic that is their favorite topic and tell you what their favorite topic is, them. Even if they ask you what you do, they do not want to know what you do. They are more interested in telling you what they do, and that's fine. Be a great listener. And once you've listened, then be able to add value. So we spoke about the fact that, my partner is very involved in ceramics and, it's something that his mum is involved in. And at some point in time, we might have a coffee and the three of you can talk about pottery and ceramics. Yeah. And that would be so much fun, but it's not business. Yeah. But then what would happen as a result of that, Namita would feel that I'm a human being, somebody who she can kind of trust, okay? Yeah. As you begin to trust me, then you begin to get to know me. As we become friends and we have a relationship, then the authenticity is there, the credibility is there, and all we now need to do is then talk about how we can support each other. But that won't happen in a rush. It's like if you get to meet a guy for the first time and he says, you know what, I think you're so beautiful, I'm going to take you away for a weekend to Paris. And it'll be a private jet. You're going to be like, steady on, I don't know you. Yeah. He's selling you what he wants, his private jet, Paris, so it sounds like a great idea, but
no, it doesn't work. How much ever rich you are, it will not work.
It's too early in the friendship, too early in the relationship, and that's the thing.
It's a process.
It's a process, so that's the thing with networking. It's a process, and the process is, when I go, I've got to go with so-so reap, and I've got to go with the mindset that I'm there to find out as much as I can about other people and then give them value so that we can start building a relationship. When the relationship is stable, then I might go to Paris with him.
True.
And I'll take you with you.
Then I'll feel safe around him. So
exactly.
True. It's absolutely true. We do business with people we trust.
Yes.
And that's why nowadays they say people buy people. People do business with people, and that's why every brand these days needs a face, a face to connect to. If you look at Apple, you think of Steve Jobs. If you think of Facebook, you think of Mark Zuckerberg. You think of Microsoft. It's so every brand, every aspiring brand has a face behind it, and that's how you. And these people have created trust in us, whatever different ways they have connected with us, even though we don't really get to meet them in person.
Exactly.
So. How do we find the right networks?
How do you find the right networks? Okay, so I am not going to be a hypocrite. I'm old-fashioned, and how I believe in building networks is face-to-face. Now, don't get me wrong. I do understand the benefit of having a social online network. I feel it's important because When people know more about your brand, then they're going to ask more questions, they're going to be more curious, they're going to be able to easily share what you do with their network. So there is power in Twitter, you see Twitter, tweeting, LinkedIn, in Facebook, in Instagram, okay? But for me, how I actually find my networks is in two ways. Life. I will communicate and speak to anybody. I was coming up to Namita's office and I was speaking to people in the lift. That conversation can spark into a network before you know it. This morning I was speaking to another lady in the lift, and she works for a very large French company, I don't want to say the name, who may be of interest to me later on. I know her name, I didn't get her business card, but I know where she lives, so I'll be back. So I just literally have a very open mindset when I'm doing life. That's how I meet my network, and I just talk to people. I do believe that you do need confidence to approach strangers, and it's a skill that you can learn. Not everybody's a natural people person.
Normally when you're in an elevator or something, you just look into your phone, you look down, you look up, and you don't really want to talk to anyone, you just want to do your thing.
Yeah, well, I do it on bus. I mean, in this country we don't travel on the bus, but if I'm in a shop in Spinneys, or there's a cute child or something's going on, I'll have a conversation, because that's what networking is. It's having conversations with new people, opening new doors, and basically it's about newness. And you can't build a network if you're talking to people that you know. There's no newness in that. The other way I actually build networks is I go to events, but I don't go to any old event. I choose the events I want to attend. And how do I choose those events? Well, first of all, I have a vision, a very clear vision of what I want to achieve with my business. And I know why Pearlescence was set up. It was set up to support women who basically needed to have other women, like-minded women, who were very, very motivated, share life, do life with them. And the reason it was important to me was when I started my career in the UK in the 80s, I was very black, still am, very young, and female, and it was a male-dominated industry. And the very few women that were in the industry, they turned their backs on me because I didn't fit the role of a corporate banker. So I dressed in my navy blue suits, I dressed in my black suits, and you, if you know me, knows that's not my colour. I tried so hard to fit in and I couldn't. So I decided that when I grew up, I was going to create a network that like-minded women could get the support, and that's what Pearlescence does. But the reason why I'm talking about events is I decided which events were going to serve my cause. And when I go to events, I look at the themes, I look at who's going to be there, and I figure out, are these people the people that are my tribe? If they are, I'll go to that event, and it's easy then to network because they basically have the same interests as me. In addition to that, I always look at, you know, people that are going to buy what I have to sell. What my passion is, I need to sell it because I need to make an income. So again, I look at events and places where prospective buyers may hang out, and I go to those networking events. So you don't have to go to every single networking event that's in town, but you do need to have a clear vision of your goals and what you want to achieve, and then go to those events that achieve that, plus events that have potential buyers that could buy your services.
So I hope everybody gets the connection. You're choosing still the events which can help you grow your business, but when you're going to these events, you're not going with the goal of actually selling to those people in the first go. You're going to connect with these potential buyers or customers in the beginning, and then build relationship. So well said. You know, that's what it was very amazing for me to know, that when I was trying to get into your January event, when I came in 2017 in the beginning, I was trying to look for you on Instagram, on social. I didn't find the event anywhere, and I'm thinking to myself, she's not promoting this event on social media. She doesn't even have a website. You know, that's like a big bar. No, yeah. And then you sent me a link on Eventbrite to register for the event, and when I reached, there was a huge rush of people. It was full. There were 300 women inside, just about the right women who have the, you know, exactly the caliber that should be there at that event to be inspiring and to get inspired. Everybody had their story. Everybody was corporate, working women professionals. And I was just shocked. How did she do this? She's not there anywhere on social media. She didn't spend a dime on anything. And she has an event full.
Yeah.
It's all by one-on-one. It takes so much time.
It's word of mouth, and I pick up my telephone, I speak to people.
That's how she actually invited me. How do you get time?
I schedule it into my day. I do a couple of hours every day, and I speak to my people. They're my tribe. I want to get to know them. I don't want to just use them. The people that are in my life are important to me, and they've all been referred, so nobody gets onto my database by cold calling. I don't do that. I always want to know, how did you get to hear about us? Yeah. And then, like at my event yesterday, I knew everybody by name.
Yeah, you were calling. How do you remember so many names? That's another...
It's getting harder as I'm getting more mature, but yeah, I love people. So,
yeah.
You know, the most beautiful sound is your name, right?
Yeah.
So I make it a point to make sure
everyone you address with their names, and it's just amazing. And it just, I remember when Cordelia, she was one of the students at DBWC.
Yeah,
when I was
needed
teaching there.
Namita's help, and I still do.
And I remember that day when I got her call, and that call really made a difference, because you took the time and energy to call me. There was something I need to pay back. I needed to respect that call, that special invite. And maybe in the future events I wouldn't show up, but that first event for which you invited me to, I had to show up, whatever the case be, if I committed to you on the phone, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that call really made a big difference.
Human touch, it's very important.
Yeah.
And what's worrying me now, our children are not learning this. We have educated them to be socially savvy through computers.
Yeah.
They've lost the social etiquette of being human, of building natural relationships. And you know what? If we don't address it, our grandchildren and their children are not even going to know how to actually string a sentence together. So there needs to be balance. I'm not saying it should be only word and mouth. There does need to be social media support, but that is not the be all and end all. It needs to be a balance.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to build my business, and I don't care how big or how small my company is, I'll still be ringing my tribe, because that's why I'm in the business, to serve you.
Yeah.
And if I don't know you, then you know you're just a number, and I'm not a believer in that.
Yeah. True. It's hard work, word of mouth, but it still works and it still exists. So how, in the session yesterday, you spoke about different kind of networks people should have in their lives, and there were 3 particular types of networks you spoke about. Would you like to share about that?
Yeah, of course, that'd be lovely. Yeah. So I will start off with a topic that's really important, and for those of you that own your own businesses, this is going to be really key. It's very hard to do your job that you're passionate about and go out and find clients. Mm-hmm. If we were able to have a team of people that constantly gave us new clients, it would be a dream, right, Namita?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, as a business owner, you need an affiliate partner. This is someone who gets paid to sell your services, to bring you business. Mm-hmm. And this is something that is very familiar in Dubai, but I'm not talking about a large kind of commission structure. I'm just talking about a figure that both of you will feel value from. I then feel that you need a partner who can work with you to distribute content. Because if I have a community of women who would love to work with Namita, if I say to them, look, Namita has written this amazing blog, and I really do believe she's going to add value to your lives, they're going to read it. Whereas if you approach them direct, it'll be like another email, delete. So finding partners who you can basically partner with and share just content. So they may never, ever, ever give you any business, but their platform and your platform has the same target market, so you complement each other. No competition. And then you have partners who are profitability partners. Now these people become your best friends, and there's a certain number that you should be looking to attract. And what these people do is, I don't know if I've got my wallet, let's see, I've got my little purse, but as soon as these people put money in this purse and I put money in their purse, then we are profitability partners. But this has to be an ongoing, consistent relationship. So if I give Namita an opportunity and she gives me an opportunity and it's a one-off, we're not in profitability. And so, unfortunately, that relationship won't last. But when we are in profitability, we are like business partners, but without any responsibility legally to each other. We also need partners who we can collaborate with. So if you look at the work that Namita does, in the digital space, it's all about looking good. And if she was to host an event, perhaps with a florist, with a makeup institute, and with a photography business, none of these people can do online marketing, can they? Digital marketing. But because Namita needs to ensure that the people that she represents, their brand looks good, that when they're presenting themselves, that they look good, you know, when they've got a story to share, and when she's doing these boomerangs, Insta stories and stuff like that, then all of these people could come together, and Namita could do a live, here you go, another idea for a show, but you know, get all these people together, they all invite their databases to be live on the show, and Namita basically hosts it and says, right, when you're going to get in front of your Facebook Live, this is how you should be groomed. She speaks to, you know, the makeup person, and then the florist is the person that produces the flowers at the back so that the scene looks right. And then the photographer is the person that takes the imagery and uploads it, etc., etc. So these are the types of partners that you should be looking to do collaboration with. Again, it's another way to, you know, build your brand. So that's your business network. And so you might be a corporate lady, and you are desperate to move up the corporate ladder, but you're stuck. You don't know how to move. So the types of people that you should be looking for in your network is a mentor, and that's very difficult to find. But you have different you have different mentors depending on what your issue is at the time. And these people don't have to be with you for life. And there's a language that you have to speak to mentors, because it's a voluntary position, and there's a way that you have to cultivate that relationship. You also need somebody who's a sponsor, and that's someone who can open doors. They have the power to open doors. So the difference between a sponsor and a mentor is the fact that the mentor has the experience, they're going to share it with you. They're going to make your life a lot easier based on their experience. And the sponsor is someone who has the power to open the door. And then you need someone who's got the skill set. So it's the points, the skills that you don't have. That individual is someone who you sit with, you know, in England they say sitting with Nelly, and they literally share with you all the skills that you will need in order to walk your way up the corporate ladder. And you also need a very good friend. Someone who's there to offload to, because corporate life is very bureaucratic, and it's not easy when you've been blamed or judged or something's gone well. You want to share it, right? So having a good friend is of paramount importance. And then the last but not least network that I help women to build is a network for love. You might look at that and think, oh gosh, you have to now build a network to find your ideal man. Many of us don't want to be on Tinder. We don't want to swipe to the left, to the right. I mean, I've not been on it, so I don't know what way it is. And we don't want to go to smoky bars. So how do you find Mr. Right? Well, what I've done, I've actually looked at the Asian tradition and the very Middle Eastern tradition of, you know, finding a good family for your son or your daughter. So I've taken that old methodology, modernized it to a certain extent, and basically come up with a network that has three major components. You need basically to have women who are very creative in this network. If they are creative and you are creative, then what will happen is the men in all of your lives are going to be like-minded, and you might not like the guy that you know, but that girl who has a creative edge to her has a guy that she doesn't like, and you trade your men friends, so to speak. I'm sure the men won't have a problem with it, but there is a strategy behind it. It's not as simple as it sounds. And then you really do need to find a girlfriend who's your social queen. She basically is out there. She might not be ready to retire and take off her social shoes just yet. And you hang out with her, you become her wing mirror, and these types of women, they love to have company. And you pick and choose what events you want to go to with her, and so you basically get exposure to her network. And then last but not least, and I'm trying to remember, is yes, you need to get online and be a part of as many women groups as you can. And what you need to do online is you need to post and talk about the fact that, yeah, I'm looking for love. Speak to other like-minded women who are also looking for love. And you can then trade the men that they have in their network with the men you have in your network. And because you're all on a mission to find love, you'll find that you've got the same kind of guys and you'll be able to build your network in that way. So the 3 types of networks is for your love life, for your career, and for your business.
So how do we find these people now?
How do you find them? Well, basically...
It's a lot of work. And I remember she gave some numbers also. We need some X numbers for business, for professionals, and that's what would complete you, to grow in your life, in all these aspects of life. How do I find these people?
You have to be out there. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to start thinking about how to do things differently, because you're going to get the same results.
Yeah.
So if your life at the moment is chock-a-block and you're networking and you can't fit in anything else, then you're not networking efficiently, and so you have to look at your strategy. But if you are not getting out there enough and you're not clear on your story and you don't know what your goal is and you don't know who you're wanting to be around, then you have to start building a strategy and a plan of action. And it's 2018, so it's a great time to start.
It's a perfect time on this conversation, actually. And a lot of, like yesterday when I was going through the event, I realized that a lot of people I already have. I just need to give names and put them and maybe collect some more in that category. It's not about collecting people. It's just, I'm sure I'll be part of somebody else's network and giving them value to their, whatever value I can bring into, to them. So it's all give and take as we...
so I love that you spoke about giving value, because I just wanted to explain something. How do you build these networks? There's 4 key ingredients that I think is really important to build a really good network. Before you build it, you've got to have a network roadmap. And that roadmap is based on, why am I passionate? Why am I actually here? So why am I passionate? What's my purpose? And who will buy that? You get me? So why am I passionate? What is my purpose? And who will buy this? That is your sweet spot. And it's in there that you actually build your network. When you figured that bit out, then what we actually do with our clients is we say, first of all, you've got to take an inventory. As Namita just said, you've got to figure out which people currently exist within your network. And it's important because let's talk about figures. If you look at your salary, it's your gross salary. Tax, even though it doesn't apply here, but in other countries, you take off tax and it becomes your net salary, okay? And that's what you take home. Now, it's the same when you're building a network. You've got to look at everybody you know. So when I was in banking, I had, as I said, about 10,000 people on my database. So I knew a lot of people. And a lot of these people were referred to me. And I'd built it over 7-8 years. So my network was big. But then I took off people that no longer served me, people that never ever gave me any business, people that were always taking from me. So I took off the non-performers, which is my tax, my burdensome people, and that left me with the people that were proactive, that were profitable, that were credible, that were visible to me. That became my network, and that was basically how I then decided how much my net worth was, because I could see clearly how many business opportunities and life opportunities these people were giving to me. So doing an inventory is the first thing, okay, to build. The second thing that you really need to do is monitor that network, because to sow reap into your life, I've got to give to you. If I don't know what you're doing and what's happening in your life, how can I give to you? So this is when I use social media. I go into LinkedIn, I go into Facebook, and I see what's happening. And then when I pick up my phone, which is my best tool of action, I'm talking to you, hey Namita, I realise that you're now moving more into the coaching business and you're providing, programs on digital marketing, and you're now doing more Facebook Lives. How can I be a part of that? Whereas if I did not do my monitoring on you and your life, I couldn't help you because I wouldn't know where you're at, right?
Yeah.
And then the third thing is that it's really, 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 really important to give introductions to your network. You see, they've got to see like value written like a tattoo on your face. And when you give introductions, it's got to be double-edged. So before I refer someone to Namita, I've got to qualify that referral, and I've got to say, I have a woman who specializes in digital marketing. She has taken companies from being an unknown brand online to being a global brand, and she's done that in the space of 3 years. Is this the kind of woman you want to speak to? Oh my goodness, she's an answer to prayer. Yes, please, Cordelia. Namita, I have a gentleman on the line that basically is desperate to build a global presence, and he's been spending a lot of money on above the line and below the line advertising, and it's not working for him. Is this the kind of client you want? Yes, Cordelia, answer to prayer. Great. I'm going to connect you both. Bye. Bye. Phone down. I do WhatsApp, by the way, because that's quick. But you email or you WhatsApp, you connect them, you bow out of the call as soon as they've connected, and that is how you build your network. Because you've got to be able to make sure both parties want to be introduced to each other.
Yeah.
Last but not least, you've got to invest. There is no way you can get through life without investing in yourself. Because you know what? This is the thing. You are the average of the 5 people that you spend time with. And if those people are bland, they're not knowledgeable, they're not ambitious, you will be bland and not ambitious. I would not want to build a network with someone that does not want to develop themselves.
Yeah.
I have spent so much money reading and feeding this brain of mine, going on courses, paying for coaches, having mentors, constantly asking people how they did things. You need to invest in yourselves. You need a budget for self-development. So these are the 4 main ingredients. You've got to do an inventory. You've got to monitor the people in your network. You've got to do introductions properly, and you've got to make sure that you develop yourself. And I'm not showing you my nails. Sorry, this one hasn't got any polish on. But yeah, basically those 4 things, Namita, are important to build a network.
That's how you build your network, which actually then defines your net worth.
Got it.
Awesome. We actually covered all the points that I wanted to. So we build our networks in our business, in our professional, and to find relationships. We identified how to connect with people, how to make those authentic connections, and what does it take to be that person who everybody wants to connect with? That's my last question.
All right. So you've met me a few times.
Yeah.
Would you like to connect with me?
Absolutely.
Why? What is it about me that makes you feel you want to connect with me?
Well, I want to learn from you. That's one, because I see that you're very knowledgeable and you have a lot of skills that I would love to receive some kind of knowledge from you. That's one. And I just feel that I can add value to you as well. I don't know how yet. We need to still figure that out, but I think I can give back there as well.
Okay.
Why else would you want to connect?
Right. So the reason why you have all these feelings is because I show up and I'm
you're
authentic.
And yeah, I feel the comfort level with you. I feel I can talk to you. You're warm. You're kind. Even the way the eyes look at you, you know how a person looks at you. So even that, I think eyes speak more than anything else. And your eyes, the way you look at people, I see kindness. So yeah, so much more to that.
Well, the first thing I believe that you have to be is open. Okay, you've got to show up, and you've got to be vulnerable, and you've got to be authentic, and that only happens when you are connected to yourself. Do you remember at the beginning of this?
Yeah.
I said you have to connect to your inner child. You have to show up as whole. Okay, that happens when you are open, when you are good to go, as they say. Another thing that I feel is really important is when you have the sow reap mentality and that principle at the front of your mind, so you're not out to take from anybody. People feel that I know in Dubai it's a bit weird, but they really do feel that, wow, this person, she's different. And that's what a lot of people say. I know some of them are looking at me thinking, what does she really want? And when they see I never want anything, they're like, oh my God, another human being is acting like this. So that's one of the things that I've done all my life, but especially in Dubai, I know it's really uncommon. So I love doing that. I think another really important thing is to be able to be a lifelong learner. Never think you know it all.
Absolutely.
People love that you don't know things that they can teach you. So just being willing to learn from others, just be humble. I really believe that's helped me to be successful with this particular skill that I have. Just being a lifelong learner and just asking simple questions and not being afraid to be wrong, you know. And last but not least, get out of the comfort zone. I have a comfort zone, by the way.
What is that?
What is my comfort zone? I need to be in control of what I'm doing. I don't want to look bad. I don't want to be embarrassed. So even when Namita was asking me to be part of the show today, I knew I had a busy week. I spoke at several events. I ran my own events, and I knew that I was going to be exhausted. So I asked her about, I don't know, a week ago, Namita, actually probably 2 weeks ago, I said, Namita, I need the questions.
I was surprised actually. I'm like, this is your topic. This is what I do. You don't need any questions from me.
No, but I need questions because I need to know I'm in control of exactly what I'm doing. So when you ask me to do things without any preparation on my side, that takes me outside of my comfort zone. I don't like that. I need to know exactly what I'm doing. Even if I'm haphazard in what I'm doing, I need to at least be able to be in control of that space. So that's my comfort zone, but more and more I'm being asked to come out of it, and you do it with grace.
Thank you. Awesome. It was a fantastic conversation. Let's see if we have any questions. I don't see much questions, guys. If you have any questions, please do leave them in the comments. Me and Cordelia will be watching or manning this particular live, and we'll be happy to respond to you even after the session is over. I hope all of you enjoyed the session. Please do tag people you think can benefit from this conversation, people who you think do have these issues with networking and really building these connections, people who are looking for love. And Cordelia, how can people find you? How can they work with you?
So Namita mentioned that she was very confused in January that I didn't have a website. My social media presence was 0. Surprise, surprise, it's November. I've reached my goal of inspiring, 1,000 plus women. I still don't have my website, but there's a reason for that, and I'll tell you more when you meet me. But for now, you can sow, reap. So hashtag sow, S-O-W, sow, S-O-W, reap, R-E-A-P. Find us on Insta and Facebook and Twitter. Bear with us if we don't get back to you as soon as we should. But we've got some really great events coming up, and we will keep you posted. So do like our pages and get on board. Pearlescence is here to stay, and we are really excited to have you.
And you have amazing women to support you.
Yes,
so
I
all
do.
In business, all is good. highly recommend her events. I've been to one myself, and I really wanted to come to that event, so that I would know exactly what I'm talking about in the show. So I've experienced a couple of events myself. I feel she's amazing. She teaches very well. The exercises we get to do in her events, they open you up. And they open your brain up to different ways of connecting with people and not really wanting things from people, rather than that giving to people. So on that note, I wish you all a lovely week ahead. For the next one, we are going to be live again on the 11th of December with Kim Page, who's going to help us understand our voice, finding the right kind of loud. What is your communication voice for your business? 2018 is very close, and this topic is going to help you identify how you should be talking on different networks or in different channels, or portraying yourself in the coming year to achieve your business and revenue goals. Until then, have a lovely week ahead. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Cordelia.
You're welcome.
Cheers.